All right, let me go through this. What? What is this thing again? This is chapters 12 and 14. The homework. Let me work the problem as a student. And again, here we're looking at unemployment. We're looking at inflation in these couple chapters. So um, look at the chapters, and again, I'm going to take questions from the final. From some of the multiple choice questions from these chapters. And again, these are good chapters to use terms in your paper. And it's talking here unemployment. Three types of unemployment, right? They are cyclical, frictional, and structural. So basically, your paper should be dealing with some kind of unemployment, right? Problem. So if you're looking at women not getting equal pay as men, that will be basically a structural problem in employment. So look at the difference between these in the textbook, right? Cyclical is with the business cycle. Friction is basically somebody just is out of work temporarily. Like when you get out of college and you can't find a job immediately, that's a frictional problem. Structural, you don't have basically the skills to get a job. Cyclical is just the business cycle, right? If there's a recession going on, people get laid off a lot of times. So let me check my answer. Yeah, I'm fine. Let me go next. The natural rate of unemployment consists solely of basically, because here you want to do cyclical, so it's going to be frictional and structural choices. These happen, of course, all the time. Again, look at the textbook, the definition between those two, and then use them correctly in your paper. It's not that hard. Fine, I'm great, I'm fantastic, as a matter of fact. Next, here, iPods and MP3 came in, right? They replaced CDs, right? There was unemployment because people making these CDs were basically thrown out of work. So both of these are structural and frictional. Let me check my answer. And again, please, please, please use one of these terms in your paper. Ask me if you are confused with these terms, but the textbook's very clear. Next, long-term effects of unemployment. So, if you're unemployed for a long time, right, in your 20s, right, then back where your 40s, this is my problem, right? I've been working in my field for a long time, so I could get a job, but it'd be a little hard. So basically, this is when unemployed workers lose some of their skills, right? I used to be a data person. I'm still pretty good with data, but my skills aren't as good as they used to be. I'd have to go back to school myself to learn some new programs. Let me check my answer. Yeah, I'm excellent. Next, the single largest component of the basket of goods comprises CPI. CPI, the Consumer Price Index. And here I'm going to have you calculate the Consumer Price Index on the final, basically. It's new minus old divided by old, because the CPI is measured. They go out and get a basket of goods, basically, 1 month, and then they buy the exact same basket of goods next month, and then see the difference, right? See if it's going up, the price is going up, price is going down. And again, new minus old divided by old will show you the percentage. But the largest part, and again, this is just for you, right? If you're living on your own, you spend the most money on rent than anything else. It's fairly common sense. Let me check my answer. Yeah, great. Next, most firms, the biggest cost of doing business, again, for most firms, it's always the same way. It's labor is the biggest problem. So this is why a lot of firms don't like to deal with unions, because wages will be higher with unions. It raises basically their costs, and again, could put them to be not profitable, as we saw in the micro part of this course. Let me check my answer just to make sure. Yeah, perfect. Nice work. Wages, which of the following group does not adjust quickly? So here, looking at sticky wages, and then here's some of the problems that Keynes will say is why it takes so long for markets to readjust if there's a recession, because we have sticky prices, sticky wages. So again, rock stars, they get paid right for every album that comes out, every concert they go, they have these different bookings. It goes up and down, right? Defense lawyers, same sort of thing. They're on their own. If things aren't going well, their wages will go down, right? Self-employed financial consultant, of course, this goes up and down all the time. But employees of state and local governments, they have certain wages that are set. A lot of them are unionized, but basically they have a contract that they run. So it's sticky. This won't adjust quickly at all. So check my answer. Yeah, perfect. Let me go next. Which of the following products is most likely to have a sticky price? So again, if we know gallon gasoline goes up and down, gold goes up and down every day. The wages of Hollywood stars, I guess, goes up and down, depending on how hot they are or not, as an actor or actress. But heavy machinery is a set price to create these things, and they're not really that price sensitive. Yeah, very good. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of simple, I think. Next, here, the diagram to the right? So again here, President Obama lowered taxes in 2009. Basically, he gave everybody some money. He did. All these politicians love to give tax decreases. He also increased government spending, right? The ceteris paribus thing, all things created equal, all things staying the same, the actions are represented by what happens. Again, it went from AD1 to AD2, right? Shifted demand to the right, gave people more income, basically. Fine, and increased government spending. So it shifts it, yeah, it's not a movement along, no, it's a shift. Shift the aggregate demand from A2 to A, no, it didn't go from A2 to A1, it went from A1 to A2, right? Shifted to the right and went from point A to point C. It's D. So this is, again, looking at this as I went over in a class on Monday, right? This is your classic Keynesian shifted demand curve to the right. Fine, loving it. Next, so calculating the marginal propensity to save, marginal propensity to consume, right? So basically, when I get more money, right? And marginally, how much do they get in here? $400 more, right? This person, and then what? Their consumption increases by $90. So they only use $90 out of the 400, right? So her marginal propensity to consume, I just got to take that, I got to get my calculator out. Let me clear what I had in here before. What is it? 90 divided by, bring your calculator to final, right? I'm going to give you one of these things. 90 divided by, what is it? 400. Equals 0.225. Right? Our consume is, I think I got this right. And you're in 2 decimal places. So it's what, 0.23? Did I get that right? Good job, okay, good. The marginal propensity to save then is gotta be basically the difference between this and 100%. So it's gotta be what, 77%, right? 0.77. Hopefully I get this math right. Yeah, I got it. Great job. Okay, great. So not that hard to do. But again, this is useful, again, for if you're looking for income inequality and you want to help raise the minimum wage. Again, poor people will have their marginal propensity to consume. If they get more money, they'll consume more. And that takes up, that is the largest part of GNP is consumer spending. So it would immediately help raise the aggregate demand, help the economy. So use these terms in your papers. State and local governments and aggregate demand, the aggregate demand curve, okay, state and local governments, the aggregate demand curve shifts to the right. Again, it will be increased if, again, if state governments do a stimulus themselves, right? Increase their spending. And this is one of the problems of the last recession, 2009, 2010, 2008. State governments basically stopped spending money. They didn't have money. They weren't bringing in revenue, so they stopped spending because they have to have balanced budgets. So it just made things worse. Let me check my answer. Yes, fine. Next. All right, here we go. I love these graphs. Shown at the right is an appropriate demand curve, right? Congress has decided to enact a tax cut for all Americans, right? So you get a tax cut, of course, we're going to draw a straight line for AD2. It's going to shift aggregate demand to the right. Fine, they call it AD1, right? Check my answer, perfect, fantastic. Again, This will be on the final. You should understand this, right? Same thing here in the short run aggregate supply curve. OPEC, again, this is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, decides to reduce oil production. And they could, actually, because they want to raise prices. So what would happen is, again, here these producers are making a change. So, of course, the supply, they're going to cut it back. So supply is going to shift to the left. Right? Takes 2 clicks. There's my average supply 2, right? Notice price will increase with this. It goes from this E1 to this E1. Fine. There's a second part to this question, right? The impact would be, again, take a look at higher price, right? Lower price. No. The stagflation. I'll talk about stagflation later. But it's a higher price level, right? There's gonna, oil is still, energy is one of the big parts of costs for businesses, besides wages, which are always the highest. Let me check my answer. Yeah, perfect. So again, draw your graphs. It's not that hard, I don't think. An economy experiencing an expansion, if things are going well, basically, there could be inflation. So both prices and wages will increase, right? Because if you're expanding, there's people have more money. So again, producers will raise their prices. There's more need for workers, so there'll be upward pressure on wages too. Let me check my answers, make sure I'm right. Yeah, I'm in, right. Am I done? I think I'm done. All right, I'm done with this one. Let me close out of here. Let me take a quick look at the quiz. The quiz is basically the same thing. I think there's 1 or 2 questions that are different on the quiz for this week. Let me edit this thing. Look at my first one. Do I have a first one? It's loading, right? Same thing as before. All right, structural, frictional. Let me work the problems as students. Same thing again. Rent, right? Oh, here's a good one. Carl has recently lost his job as a steelworker because steel imports from China are cheaper than American, right? So Carl is basically a structural problem. This is again because there's an imbalance in this economy between China, and again, this is true with a lot of our steel manufacturers lost a lot of jobs. It's very structural things because the Chinese can do it cheaper. South Korea does their steel a lot cheaper too. Megan, of course, recently graduated from college. She's looking for money. So again, this is a frictional one, right? It's just a very temporary one. Structural is more fundamental one where it takes a lot longer to fix. Frictional ones, hopefully Megan will not be like my daughter. I'm still looking for a job. Let me check my answer. Yeah, perfect. Next, the natural rate of unemployment. Did I do this one? Is this one? There is no natural rate of unemployment, just no cyclical, right? Cyclical, again, is that the business cycle going up or down. Now here, the natural rate of unemployment for most economists, and again, it's 5 and 6%, right? So basically, we're at full employment right now because our employment rate is 5.1% unemployment rate. Let me check my answer to make sure. Yeah, okay. But again, wages haven't gone up even though we're at full employment. And the economy is doing fairly well. All right, the stock market is at record highs again. So the problem is sticky wages. There are sticky wages. They're not going up. And this is a problem. Unemployment drops below the natural rate. What's likely to occur if an economy, unemployment drops below the natural rate of employment? If this happens, basically, unemployment goes down to 3%, then there's really a fight for labor and between producers, so it could create higher inflation. Right? Prices will go up. So you don't want to have too low an unemployment. It does sound strange, but because inflation could make things worse. Which was again, same thing. Which things don't adjust quickly, right? Self-unemployed defense lawyers, basically they're self-unemployed too. Movie star, university professors, they have their locked-in wages, right? We have a bad semester, hardly any students show up. Professors will still get paid the same, hopefully. Calculate, again, this is this MPC, right? What? So again, to figure out the savings, marginal propensity to save, 60 divided by the 400, right? Put it in for the marginal propensity to save, right? And then the marginal propensity to consume will be the difference between that and 100%. It's not that hard. Next. That's it. So, fairly simple. Follow along with me. Any questions, just email me. I hit the wrong button. I hate that when I do that. Stop recording.